celebrating the final
live.
goal.
Oh, okay.
I understand the longest.
Hey, welcome. It is Village Council meeting for November the 28th. We're starting at 4 o'clock. And I'm going to call this meeting to order. Anyone with, oh, sorry, I'm skipping ahead. Land acknowledgement. We acknowledge that this land on which we are gathered today is part of the ancestral land of the Chippewa, Ottawa, and Potawatomi peoples, referred to collectively as the Anishinaabe. It is through the connection of the Anishinaabe with the spirit of the land, water, and air that we recognize their unique cultures, traditions, and values. Together as treaty people, we have a shared responsibility to act with respect for the environment that sustains all life, protecting the future for those generations to come. Pecuniary interest, one is noted.
I have none.
I have
Okay.
one.
Yeah. Okay, delegations, and we're going to be doing this one on Zoom.
Yeah, just let them in here. They should be joining us any second. There's Heather and Justin. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
I'm going to make you a co-host again, Heather, and you can okay.
Wonderful.
So Heather and Justin are here from GoEvo. That's who provides us our mesh software, and council's been interested in getting a presentation from them on what this software can do. So having said that, I will turn the meeting over to Heather and Justin and let's just take it away.
Thank you very much, Jim. We're very, very excited to have the opportunity to talk to you. Let me go ahead and share my screen and we can get right into it. Fantastic. So thank you very much for having us. Justin and I are here to do exactly as Jim said. So give you an overview of Mesh, talk a little bit about our relationship. We have worked with Jay's team in environmental services for many years now. Just recently, we've started working with Shelley's team. So we're going to give you an overview both of Mesh, our relationship, where you stand right now, and some of the things that might be possible moving forward. So in our agenda, we're going to introduce the platform and where we came from. I'd like to share with you some metrics and some milestones of your journey, so everything that you've accomplished with the platform, and then go into an overview of what Mesh has to offer in terms of operations management, asset management, and workplace health and safety, as well as our form builder, some of the integrations that are possible, reporting. We'll give you a little peek at the future with our product roadmap and sum it all up in key takeaways. Does that sound like that's going to be useful for everyone?
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
All right, let's jump into it. Okay, perfect. So I'd love to introduce myself. My name is Heather Doherty-Platel. I'm a customer success manager at GoEvo. So what that means is I am focused on working with our current clients. So working with people who have had the platform for a while, are using the platform. And my goal and my focus is to understand your goals, understand your challenges, what it is that you are, what your priorities are, and to really help you get the most out of the Mesh platform to meet those goals and accomplish those priorities. I'm joined on the call by Justin Lum. Justin is our head of operations. We're both really easy to get a hold of. It's our first name at goevo.com. So if you have any questions at all, if you ever want to reach out to anyone in this meeting, please feel free to reach out to either I or Justin. We'd both be extremely happy to chat. So GoEvo was got started when, and our focus has been on local government, municipal government in Ontario. We were founded in 2016. Our founder came out of municipal IT and then worked for many years as a consultant before actually starting GoEvo and our primary platform, Mesh. GoEvo was born out of the realization that there is an opportunity to help local governments move into a digital transform what they're doing, transform paper-based processes into digital processes. It's really right in our name, GoEvo. It's government evolved. As I said, we've been in business for 6 years. We've got some of your neighbors are on this slide right now. So these are some of the other organizations that we are working with. We're using Mesh in a variety of aspects. We also have an aspect of our application that was not primarily aimed at municipal government, our PPA app, PPA standing for Personal Protective App, that grew out of the COVID pandemic. In fact, your organization used our tool during the pandemic as workplace screening. So between our municipal clients and our health and safety clients, but this is where we're getting up into 80,000 users and 500 businesses served. And as you can see here, helping getting close to 10 million digital forms being actioned, which, as you can imagine, is quite a few cases of photocopier paper. So that's a little bit of background about GoEvo, where we came from, but let's focus on Mesh. Mesh is the tool that your team has been using. Mesh is primarily, it's a cloud-based platform. There is an administrative component, so a website that administrators can go to and access all of the data, as well as building their own forms, managing their users. But our focus is on the mobile experience. So field team members are using a mobile app. It's a mobile first product. It can be on a tablet, on a phone, on any type of device. And that work, all the work that is being done in the field and being collected, all that good data that's being collected on those devices is then being sent to the cloud, where it can be accessed through the administrative portal. So with that as the basis of the platform, there's a wide variety of ways it can be used. So you're seeing it, you can see it being used for public works, for water, wastewater, but as well for road maintenance, public works, facilities, utilities. We have a number of different solutions that are tailored to specific aspects of government and municipal focus. What Mesh is allowing you to do is streamline processes, digitize processes that may have originally been done on paper, and then track all of that work being done. So you're able to see the work being done in Mesh. You're able to create a detailed, it's not a paper trail now, it's a digital paper trail. So everything that is done in Mesh is logged, is uploaded to Mesh, and we keep a record of absolutely every activity, time stamped to which user did it, where they were when they did it, and what activity they were engaged in. This has helped our partners specifically with compliance. So you will notice that within the Mesh platform, a number of places that are really focused on MMS standards. So minimum maintenance standards, our road patrol module is tied right into Ontario maintenance standards. You'll get alerts on when specific things are supposed to be repaired according to the standards. And what that paper trail, what that digital paper trail, what that simplified workflow that's easy for your users to use, that's going to help municipalities in a number of different ways. So let's say it will increase compliance. It makes the inspection workflow very easy to follow. And that streamlined workflow means it's more likely that it's going to be done. That audit trail that I'm talking about is always available to be downloaded and explored, even exported and shared. Because you are now recording and proving these inspections, and you have records of these inspections, you're minimizing your liability. You are recording and proving your proactive measures that you're taking to mitigate hazards. This is going to have a result of improving safety. You're taking these proactive measures, you're creating a safer community, and you're identifying and resolving hazards even sooner. This is going to lead to avoiding lawsuit costs. You're eliminating the risks before they even happen. And if there is a claim, you have documented evidence that that sidewalk was patrolled on this date. These are the measures that we took to define that sidewalk displacement and so on. There's that documented evidence that you're always able to pull out. And then that's going to make it even easier to do things like departmental audits. Those transparent records are very easy to access from the web platform. And the overall result of this is you're building trust and transparency. You've got easy access to this information, and you're able to prove, demonstrate accountability. Let's take a look at what we've done together. We originally started working together back in 2017. And in that time, you have completed and uploaded 20,000 digital forms. So I like to think of that as 22,000 sheets. I missed 2,000 of them there. 22,000 sheets of paper that didn't have to come back to the office, didn't get lost behind the chair in someone's truck, aren't being stored in a filing cabinet. These are 22,000 forms that are saved in our cloud-based digital filing cabinet. If we look at Jay's team specifically, Jay's team has logged 7,500 preventative maintenance activities against environmental service equipment. So those actions are being logged, they're being tracked. He can pull that information out. And all of that information is available through reporting dashboards. If we look at something like water valves, 12,000 maintenance activities specifically focused on water valves have been tracked. You look at your infrastructure of fire hydrants, 790 fire hydrant maintenance activities have been logged. So you can see from this that environmental services, the work that they're doing to maintain the infrastructure is being logged, is being recorded, and is accessible. Another aspect of the platform that you have made use of is our winter road patrol module. So the ability to note, complete the form that says the roads have been patrolled. There may or may not be a winter event going on. Do we need ice treatment? Who's been notified of that? That's the sorts of things that the Winter Road Patrol is capturing. 23,000 winter road patrols have been completed. If we want to look at how that relationship has evolved over time, you actually got started with Mesh. Your first investment in Mesh was working with Advantage Data for your sign inspections. Advantage Data uses Mesh. That's the tool that their team uses in the field to complete sign inspections. So that's where Mesh first came into relationship. From there, in 2018, Environmental Services saw the potential, saw the way that it was being used, and understood that this could be used for their processes as well. So Environmental Services in 2018 started adopting Mesh, and that's where some of those statistics that I was talking about on the previous slide came from. In 2020, you did use, as I mentioned earlier, used our COVID-19 modules. So those originally started out just simply as a symptom tracker, and that module was updated and enhanced throughout the pandemic, eventually becoming a complex, robust module that was keeping track of vaccination statuses, symptoms, who's available to go to work, and so on. And we're grateful for being able to work with you there and being able to help you keep everyone safe in the workplace. In 2021 and 2022, there was a move to bring Public Works into using Mesh a little bit. So originally that started in 2021 by using Mesh to log winter road patrols. And in 2022, that went well, and there was some interest in adding additional modules. So our streetlight module was added. That is a module that's focused on the maintenance and inspection of streetlights, as well as our fleet module. Fleet is a comprehensive module, lets you keep track of all of your vehicles, any preventative maintenance, corrective maintenance, mechanics records. So those were all added, and they're available right now. There's a lot of potential there for those to be used more within the municipality. And our most recent change, or most recent addition, is the workplace health and safety modules. So we are working with Shelley's team. We have brought a basket of available forms, things like hazard inspections, even safety talks, certification management, so keeping track of who is first aid certified, whose certification is coming up for renewal, and so on, as well as working closely with Shelley to take her custom forms or your custom forms and digitize them to create something that can be used in Mesh. So again, replacing another paper form with a digital form, but in this case being custom, taking something that you're already using and customizing it. Mesh is very module based. So Mesh has a platform. You have access to that platform. Within the platform, as I've mentioned, you're doing things like user control. Who has access to what? Who can see what? Anything that's going on in Mesh can be controlled, or access can be controlled on a user by user or a group basis. Maybe Public Works doesn't necessarily need to have the access to the same things as environmental services. In addition to that platform where you have user management, where all the data is available, so you can always access the data, you can always reference slice and dice and drill down into particular events on particular days, there is a form builder. You have all the tools that I use every day, you also have access to. So if there are people in your organization who are really excited about the idea of form building, those tools are there. And then what we're looking at on the screen right here are our modules. So these are pre-built solutions that GoEvo has built with the form builder, but using our experience. And these are now available for our partners to leverage. So what I'm showing you on the screen right now are our operations management modules. An operations management module tends to be a digitization of a workflow. They tend to be a little bit more complex than some of our other modules. They're meant, as I say, they're meant for digitizing an entire workflow. So the ones that you have right now are water, wastewater, preventative and corrective maintenance. So that is tracking measurements and maintenance being done on all of your environmental services equipment. And you're also using road patrol and winter road patrol. So those are both installed. Those are both available to be used. Some of the other ones that are, so those are the ones that are in bold. The ones I'm showing not in bold are available. They're either installed but not being used, or they haven't been installed yet. So those are things like the fleet and the daily vehicle inspections, weather monitoring, as well as an entire service request and work order solution. Taking the process of a service request all the way from that initial request, whether that's coming from an admin or it's coming directly from a resident, those service requests can then be sent to departments for review or triage. A department then has the opportunity to turn that into a workflow, and you're able to track the whole process. So, you know, one tree goes down and you have 5 different service requests for it, but it all results in one work order. You'd be able to track that. Contrary-wise, you know, there's one culvert jammed, but you have 6 different teams get involved. So one service request, 6 work orders. You're able to track all of that. Another good example is our pavement condition index module. Other ones that are available are things like bylaw tracking. Asset maintenance manager is focused on recurring maintenance in vertical assets. So whether that's a park, so maybe within a park, you have the park itself, and then you have garbage cans and hanging baskets and washrooms and all the different assets within that park that need to be maintained. Contrary-wise, it could also be a facility. You have a building, the building has rooms. Within the rooms, there are fire extinguishers and pieces of equipment and furnaces with filters that need to be replaced and elevators that need to be inspected. So Asset Maintenance Manager puts that all into one solution and lets you create repeatable schedules to maintain things. Another option is time tracking or timesheets. Asset management modules tend to be very focused on a particular asset. So something like system water valves that you're already using is really just tracking the maintenance activities on your various valves, where they're located and so on. Similarly with hydrants, similar with signs. Really, when it comes to an asset, you need to know where the asset is, the maintenance schedule, when was the last time it was inspected, and some various details about it. So again, the ones that are in bold are already being used right now. The ones that are not in bold are available to be installed and implemented or to be used a little bit more frequently. And then finally, the third basket of modules is our health and safety modules. These are all ready to be implemented and ready to be used more frequently. We won't go into too much detail on those. You can see the list there. Again, if there's anything that is of particular interest, do let me know. And then we've also touched on the form builder. So all of these modules, everything that our customers, our partners are using in the field was built in Mesh. And you would have access to, you do have access to all of those tools. So any module that you're seeing, anything that we've been able to accomplish with Mesh, that is available as well for you. So you can build and modify your own custom solutions. We can also partner with you if you don't have the time, you don't have the resources or the inclination. We are available to do custom solutions. A good example of that was taking the workplace inspection form from your Joint Health and Safety Committee. We've worked with you to digitize that, so that now that is available on a tablet or phone and can be completed digitally. So I'd like to show you some examples of how your team is actually using Mesh in the field right now. So for example, wastewater is performing preventative maintenance histories on equipment. So what we're looking at here in the animation is you're seeing an actual animation taken out of Mesh. And what you're seeing is that all the information available to that particular piece of equipment, including any activities that have already occurred, are available right at your fingertips. In this case, you're seeing the user enter a barcode. They could just as easily scan the barcode. If I was right in front of that piece of equipment, I could have done that. And that would bring up the history of that particular piece of equipment, any key information about it, when was the last time it was inspected, and so on. So you'll see the barcodes going in. We have photos are available. All of those details are available and can be reviewed. And then if you drill down, including financial details at the bottom, and then if you drill in here, you're seeing the history. And then on any of those historical inspections, you can drill down again and see the results. So all that data collected exists in Mesh and then is available at your fingertips on the tablets. Similarly with water, here we are inspecting a hydrant. In this case, it's very map focused. So what you're seeing here are GPS pinpoints for all of your various hydrants. And then on a particular hydrant, you can zoom in, see the details right down to a photograph of where it is. You're able to upload additional photos for information. Here we are looking at the activity history. So of all the various details. So again, we'll go to the hydrant map. Then they're searching for a particular hydrant right there. So that's going to filter the view down to what they're looking for. If you tap on it, that drills down into the details. And now you're looking at the details for that specific hydrant. From here, you could log activity, maintenance, inspections, and so on. And as I've mentioned, the asset tools are very similar. So if we were looking at streetlights, if we were looking at culverts, if we were looking at catch basins, the workflow would be very similar. In this example, we are showing how you can actually drill down to a specific address. So this is the water services and sewer services map. And what I'm seeing here is the user has typed in 135 Kendall. That's drilling down specifically to that address and the specific municipal services that are available. So again, you'll see the search and then drilling down the pinpoints. We can use conditional pin colors for a variety of different options. It depends on the module. Sometimes in this case, it might be showing you the difference between the different types of connections. The other way that conditional colors are used are by priority of repair, something that needs to be repaired showing up in red. So there's a variety of different ways that those can be configured. An initiative that engineering environmental services is working on right now is actually uploading historical paper records to that same section. So they have the records, they have their various water assets are available, and they're going through the process of uploading photographs of all of the original records. So it's all tied to the history of that particular asset. Because it is such a simple process, because the Mesh tablet does make it very simple, this is a time-consuming process, but it would be simple enough to hand out over to a summer student. Something else that's important to realize about Mesh, so it's right in the name actually, Mesh, it's built to integrate. So we are built to and designed to integrate with other systems that you may already be using. We have several integrations are built right into the system. This could be very straightforward. It could be, you know what, Heather, every time I get a specific form uploaded, I need a copy of it to go to a Google Drive. That's a very straightforward integration. A slightly more complex integration might be something like every time I get a work order assigned to me, I need to receive a text message. That would be an integration with a third-party product like Twilio. So they would handle the text messaging and we would be integrating with Twilio. So the variety of integrations that allow us to push and pull data from other systems into Mesh. In addition to those pre-made integrations or those built-in integrations and connectors, we also have a great deal of experience doing custom partner integrations. So there's some examples of that on the screen right now. So for example, Geotab would be recording vehicle engine hours. So this would be a tool that would be associated with a vehicle. Mesh is able to get those engine hours and use them in our fleet module to alert mechanics when recurring tasks are coming up or when you've reached a threshold of engine hours that it's time for an oil change. Something like Esri, often municipalities have all of their location data in Esri or their roll numbers or parcel numbers. So one example I've seen a common Esri integration is we use Mesh to reach out to Esri and pull down all of the up-to-date roll numbers or parcel numbers. Those addresses are now available in Mesh. And as new ones are added, because I'm integrated, it's automatically going to get pulled down into Mesh. So if a new subdivision is built, there's new roll numbers, there's new parcel numbers in the Esri system that can, with an integration, that could be automatically imported down into Mesh so that the operators of the Mesh tablets always have access to the latest information. And then finally, when this one has actually just been completed. This is Iris. Iris is its camera goes on the outside of a vehicle. It's doing road patrols. It's logging deficiencies. It's logging potholes using AI technology. And our integration with Iris means that we are taking those deficiencies and we are turning them into work orders in Mesh. So the municipality that we're working with there is using the Iris cameras to get that data, but we're pulling it into Mesh so that all the work orders are being managed through Mesh. Integrations are, it's not as simple as flipping the integration switch. It's a project. So if you were interested in integration, we would want to understand the data. We'd want to really understand what you wanted to do with the data, what the eventual goal was. And then we would partner with you to really understand the project and scope it out. A recent integration that we have made available is an integration with Ontario One Call. This came about from a request from a municipality. They had a very small team and they were doing locates and they were concerned about the Ontario One Call being able to fine for tickets not being closed under a certain amount of time. This was a big concern for them with a small staff. Sometimes the field team didn't get back into the office to give them the information to get everything closed down within that timeline. So we worked with Ontario One Call to create an integration that allows a Mesh user to enter a ticket, enter a locate ticket, and update the status right from the Mesh tab. So they're not needing to log into that Ontario 360 website. They're making the update, they're making the change through the Mesh tablet, the same tablet that they're using out in the field. I have talked about how all of the data in Mesh that's collected in the field is pulled into that Mesh backend. We also provide, and all that data is available. It can be searched, it can be sliced and diced. You can drill right down to particular users, particular dates. In addition to all the data that's available in Mesh, we also have reporting dashboards that are shared that provide a little bit more of a user-friendly access to the data. The data in the dashboards, it's the live Mesh data, but it can't be deleted or changed or edited. It's purely a view, and it can be sliced and diced any way that you want. And then when you've got the cut of the data that you like, you're then able to export it very easily with 2 clicks, either as a CSV or an Excel or even as a Google Sheet. So what that means is you're able to now start getting actionable insights from the activities that are being in the field. Because that work is being logged and because it's all being pulled into Mesh, we're then able to present that in a dashboard that's going to give you information like month-over-month changes, or what's the current status? What's of my 533 work orders, how many of them are still in progress, and which ones are waiting for approval? Or even which categories what categories are those work orders coming in? How much time is being spent on them? All that's available through Mesh and through those reporting dashboards. To give you a sense of where we're going, so we've talked a lot about where we've been and what you're doing right now. Let's take a look at our product roadmap. Huge initiative this year has been our mobile work orders and service request module. So this is entirely mobile management, a complete 360 management of service requests and work orders. And you'll see that has taken up the last quarter, but it's also extending into the new year. Where we are moving is a completely integrated platform where no matter which module is being used, whether we're in system valves, whether we're in hydrants or catch basins, all of those work orders will be available in one place, so everything can be viewed from a single place. So we're going to continue with those efforts. The end of October, we went through a big push to revise winter road patrol. This right now, we're currently working on bylaw and sidewalk. So we know in the spring it's a prime time for sidewalk patrols. So we are improving our sidewalk module. Our bylaw module is currently a standalone module. I'll give you a sneak peek. We're thinking, it turns out that most bylaw enforcement is actually being triggered by a service request. So most likely that's going to be integrated into our mobile work orders and service request module. So if I had to sum up what I would like to leave you with, why use Mesh? One, I would say something I consistently hear from feedback is that it's easy to use, that the field team finds it easy to use, does not find it a barrier to get their work done. And the way one person put it to me is, Heather, I've used many different platforms like this, and some of them are hard and some of them are easy. The ones that are easy for the team to use are the ones where I don't have to stay on top of them to make them use it. That's where I'm going to see the most uptake. That ease of use, it is wrapped around this very powerful package, that back end that you have access to, with results in a tablet experience that is easy. What it allows you to do, what that ease of use, what that efficiency, what that pulling of reports and having that visibility allows you to do is be more productive and more efficient, saving time, less time driving back and forth, less time looking for that piece of paper. It gives you visibility. In everything that's going on day to day. It allows you to make informed decisions. I just gave you a glimpse at some of the insights that are available from whether that's from taking a look at what environmental services has done over the lifetime of the account, or drilling into the work orders to see what's available, what still needs to be completed, and so on. And it means that you're moving in a digital direction. So future proofing by starting to implement this data-driven technology. When you work with us, you are getting a team of experts that have worked with over 100 Ontario municipalities. We've got a product that is designed with the end user in mind. As you can see just from our roadmap and some of the examples I've given, we're always evolving. We're always refining our modules. We create modules based on customer feedback. As I said, that's where that Ontario One Call integration came from. We don't really see ourselves necessarily as competing with some of the other platforms that are out there. We like to say that we're complementary. Different platforms excel in different things. And because of our ability to integrate, because of our flexible form builder, we really think that we are able to complement any other services that you might be using. And we have a dedicated implementation, training, and customer success team. So we are there with you from the implementation of each module to offering training services, and then being handed over to the loving hands of the customer success department. We don't just set it and forget it. We're checking in with you regularly and really committed to your success and making sure that you're really getting all of the benefits out of the platform. This was everything that I wanted to cover. I'm curious to know if there are any questions or if there's anything that I could drill into in a little more detail.
Start at the end, Paul.
Not having.
Right.
I'm just wondering, there's a lot of modules we're not maximizing now. Should we be, or like, what do you suggest moving forward?
I would absolutely, I would love to see you using those modules. They're there, they're available. Many other municipalities are seeing benefits from those modules. If it's just a question of a little bit of a refresher training, maybe just having, really helps to have a champion or to have somebody who is leading the charge on your end, and then my team can kind of partner with them and give them whatever it is that they need to get up and running.
And I think that is our problem is in environmental services, we have a champion there, but at Public Works, where we have a vacancy at the management role. So that's probably why we're slow on the uptake. It's been a vacancy for a while. So hopefully we
No.
get that position hired and get that more of those modules implemented.
Yeah, that
looks-
makes sense. And because they're module based, you know, you don't have to do everything all at once. It can be, if there's an immediate need, start there, get the team comfortable with it. Once they're comfortable using it, it becomes easier to add more tools and more modules.
Yeah, thanks for the presentation. Looks like a very powerful tool, so I appreciate it.
Oh, thank you very much. Oh, thank you very much for your time.
Yeah, I was going to ask about, so there's a couple there that seem obvious to me that we could be using, but the one that caught my eye that I was thinking about was sidewalks. So last year when we had summer students, we were using summer students to mark issues on sidewalks to be caught later when the work got done. It seems to me that would fit very well within mesh. Like to be recording the areas. I mean, I guess they must have captured it all on paper.
Mhm.
But so because they were gone back to school by the time the sidewalks are being addressed. So that seems like an easy adaptation to me to go in there. And
It's
Public Works was championing that work, so we'd have to see how comfortable they are with adding something, but same with catch basins. We have a program going on.
And there's a lot of stuff that we're working to getting, like we're working with us right now, we get one call
Mhm.
set up, because we use a lot of time
Mhm.
racing back, logging into the system. Catch basin, you know, we did all the GPS, we've done all the work, so it is gonna get integrated in.
Oh, perfect.
It's just,
Ah,
you know, the time
yeah.
consuming to get the stuff in, and that's where with some of them doing the historical recorders, possibly looking at some to where, you know, somebody at a level that they can kind of just be shown what they're doing and take it on their own and with minimal supervisions to do anything. So
And a student would be very comfortable having a tablet in this software
Oh.
versus,
Yeah,
it's just, it's very time consuming, it's better.
yeah.
Really responsible enough to actually sit there and do it and get it done.
it's same like streetlights is another obvious one. We're tracking, you know, when was it changed out and like, when does it need to get done and all of that, but that's done by a different person as well, so,
It's
but it would
definitely
fit well in there.
something I think that we should build on.
Yeah.
We should build on much more.
Yeah, so
So
it will come.
it's up to people's.
Okay.
I have a question. Oh, sorry.
No,
No,
no question.
you're good. Okay. You keep making reference to tablets. Does it work off a phone?
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. So the Mesh app itself is free to download. And we have Android versions as well as Apple and Windows. So they can be installed on anything. I've got it on my phone right here. I reference tablets. Many places have a tablet and they issue a tablet. So it's language that I hear very often, but no, it's absolutely designed for phones.
Okay, so all our employees have phones. So,
We have tablets too.
yeah, so getting it out to, that's not an issue. Technology, like the actual
And
device.
everything's kind of in place to be done, the
Yeah.
modules are in place.
Okay.
It's just a matter of getting
Getting it.
people to start using it, get it set up, get it built. Like, I know, for example, the road reports, I know the Public Works, they're using the winter road reports, they're not using summer road reports, so that's where they can just start right into that, right? Right now they're doing paper-based road reports. There's a lot of the, like the equipment assets, management, the maintenance, that stuff. For example, Steve used it when he was in environmental services, so a lot of that can just feed back. It's just getting somebody to spearhead the use of it and how far they want to go with it.
Yeah, I can see very many easy uses for this, like applications that, you know, simplify it for the workers. You know, they're doing it anyways. Do it once, capture the data once and you've captured it. right?
So I'm just gonna make a comment for Ariana's benefit, but when we first started talking about this and they were first using it, one of the biggest, the user tool was winter maintenance. So you could track like every time that the truck plowed. And then if you had a complaint from someone that had an accident, for example, this is the liability side of it, where you have all the data that says, no, you know, the snow was this high, we plowed at this point, and all your records are right there maintained. So that's one of the drivers, one of the programs that we adapted to early on.
Seems like a very user.
Yeah, yeah.
Heather, I got another question, if we could.
Yes.
A health and safety module, you say you're working with Shelley's group. What, are you just doing the workplace inspection form, or you taking it to other modules within that?
It is my understanding, and I have to be honest with you, forgive me, but my colleague Ven did the most work with Shelley. It's my understanding that all those modules are available, but the one that Shelley is currently most interested in is the joint health and safety custom form.
Okay, that's fine.
So they're all there, but I don't think that I don't think these are all necessarily being used right now.
Thank you.
Oh, sorry.
And in a follow-up to that, Heather, you talked about integration, so, you know, one call, you can have the form go directly into one call. Can we have those health and safety checklists automatically filed in a OneDrive?
I believe that would be possible. Yes, I think so. Sorry, I don't mean to jump around quite so much. I just want to get back to our implementations. Yeah, absolutely. So OneDrive is one of the built-in connectors.
Right. And
We might have to integrate, talk a little bit with your IT team and just make sure all the securities and we've got the protocols right. But that's exactly the one of the built-in push and pull connectors.
when those inspections are done, they're circulated to our different committees. And like right now, you know, with the paper version, they have to be scanned, copied to the drive, where if you can do it on the computer or the tablet and, you know, hit a submit button and it automatically goes to that drive. I think there's probably other forms that you could do that too with, and maybe you're already doing it, like a hydrant inspection. That form has to be maintained somewhere. Is it good enough for it to be saved in the cloud somewhere? Yeah. Okay.
As long as we have access to it, so, and one of the things we actually just made some changes, so Jennifer can sign up. There's two types of users. I forget the terms, but it was like a heavy and a light user. So we went through with Justin and Heather, we figured out who we thought needed to be a heavy user. And who could get away, like most of the health and safety stuff. If the minimal, it's 10 entries a month. With the heavy users, it's unlimited. So we've sorted that out. We've added Jennifer. She's going to get trained when we want to use any work orders when people call in with complaints. It'll generate the work orders. It's going to get all that automation going. And then as well, probably Grace, I'm thinking Grace will probably get on the same setup as well. So everything that comes in, it can be just, you know, they can do the work order, and then the staff automatically will see the text or the email come in saying, hey, we got something that needs to be taken care of. So all that integrations happen. There is a lot more stuff we're building to use, and just to keep pushing this forward, right? There's a lot of potential here that we're still not using. It's just a matter of, you know, you get one module done, let's start the next one. It's not like we have a dedicated team that can just build stuff. So it's in between the work we're building, right? So,
Just on that, I see very many efficiencies because we are a small group. Like your group's small, Public Works is small, you know, the arena, can we bring them into this somehow? You know, we're small groups, and this would be really, you know, very, if they help us efficiency wise, for sure.
I think that's it for questions, and appreciate your time. I was appreciated learning more about some of the pieces I wasn't even aware of, so I can see how
That's
useful.
wonderful. That's absolutely wonderful to hear. That's great. That's great to hear. Thank you very much to J and J's team for inviting us, and thank you for the opportunity to present. You'll have my contact information, so if anything does come up, we'll make sure that you have access to this presentation, and we're very happy to have another call or answer any questions that you might have.
And just in closing, I'd just like to pass on, I know Jay coordinated this on behalf of council, so thank you for making it happen. We've been trying to get this done for quite a while, so
Like, yeah,
nice to have it done, and we're a little more educated. Thank you.
Wonderful. Okay. Thank you, everyone.
Take care. Have a good
thank
night.
you.
Thank you
Take
so
care.
much. Bye-bye.
We're gonna keep going. Okay, so we'll go back to our agenda. On to the minutes from October 24th. Mover and seconder, please. Thank you. Thank you. Okay, Mariana.
I just have one comment, Mary.
I have one question.
Okay. Go ahead.
You spoke
Okay.
first.
In the community events and public announcements, whatever, it says that I was covering for you at the Remember State Parade in Sarnia. But it was actually the
Oh,
Point Edward
yeah.
one that I covered, and you did attend the.
Yeah,
Sarnia
I
one,
did,
so
sorry.
It's a minor thing, but.
Yeah. No, we covered both that way, so.
Yeah, yeah,
And I went to Anjuwan as well.
thank you.
I just had one question. The night that we had the presentation from Mr. Phillips, I was going to ask him, and I didn't bring it up during the meeting, about the repair work down by the casino. And you had apprised him that we would ask,
Yeah, it started last weekend.
you know, the cave-in that's been there for a couple of years.
Yeah, so they started last weekend. They're
Oh.
gonna come in this weekend apparently and finish up what they can do this
Good.
year, and then they'll have some finish up work to do in the spring.
Okay, that's good. Thank you.
We're contributing towards it. Cost wise, they're managing.
It's good. No, it's been there a while. Okay, all in favor? That's carried. Thank you. Ongoing tasks in previous minutes,
You know,
meeting.
there's a few items that are covered under new business
Okay.
that kind of come out of the minutes of the last meeting, but
Financial reports, general operations.
I'll move that the total revenues and general operations for the month of October 2023 in the amount of $115,303.10 be approved, and that the total expenditures and general operations for the month of October 2023 in the amount of $556,045.59 be approved.
I can second that.
All in favor? Environmental services,
I'll move that the total revenues and environmental services for the month of October 2023 in the amount of $0 be approved. And that the total expenditures and environmental services for the month of October 2023 in the amount of $118,602.52 be approved. And that the updated financial statements for the month of September 2023 showing revenues of $133,153.53 and expenses of $235,667.15 be received and filed.
that's good. Any questions? All in favor? Just gonna, I think we have a technical difficulty. Just pause for a moment.
I don't understand. It's,
Go to our street.
yeah, and Jem's listening to it. She can't hear anything anymore.
But you can see it, right?
Yeah, it's,
Yeah, I can see it,
yeah,
but the captioning is showing up.
Bizarre.
Captioning is showing up. So we have audio.
yeah. Yeah, it's working. I don't, seems to be working. Okay. Where were we at?
Right?
Committee reports,
Yeah.
operations.
Operations committee meeting.
So I will move. Over there, no. I'll move that the minutes of the operations committee meeting held November 14th, 2023 be approved as circulated.
I'll second that.
I just have a couple quick highlights. The Point Edward sign rejuvenation continues, and there's an item later on in the agenda regarding further work. I just want to comment that the signs are very nice. It's great to have them back and all cleaned up. Staff are looking at openings for a community skate over the holidays. We were told the ice is quite booked.
We have a date
Oh, we have a date? Okay.
and I love it.
It is,
December 31st.
oh, nice.
I think it's at 1 or 1:30, but I will confirm.
The challenge we had was the arena got quite booked up over the holidays, which is good, but at the same time, so the street sweeper is here in town this week. Residents are being reminded to keep cars off the road during the day until their street is completed. The ban on overnight parking starts December 1st. And there's a request to have Rocky the Snake grow, and that's going up later in our agenda. Before we vote, I have a couple questions on outstanding items. So the what's the status of the online survey for the reduction in garbage limits?
To do that in the spring or
Oh, okay.
early next year.
Okay.
We've reduced to 4 bags starting January 1st.
So that'll be in the calendar and everything? Okay, and then the survey will be in the spring.
Yeah.
Okay.
To look at further reductions the following
Okay.
year.
Wonderful.
It actually, I'm pretty sure on that newsletter also stated, the last newsletter it stated that we we're going down 4
Okay.
bags starting in January.
Super, thank you. Skate patroller for the public skates. Have we hired somebody?
We haven't hired, I've had some texts back and forth with, I can't think of the person's name off the top of my head,
Yeah, it's in our minutes,
but yeah, nothing is set yet.
just worried about liability with public skate, not having anybody on ice supervising when we've identified it as a concern and there is somebody available. So I just, even if Derek could reach out, if you're busy, maybe Derek could reach out to the individual and get it underway. And then, is there an update on the speed sign? Are we,
No, there isn't.
okay?
No.
That's all, thank you.
All in favor of the minutes?
All in favor of the minutes?
Thank you.
Thank you.
The Michigan Ave parking
Button, Jim.
concern, so
Thank you.
last at the meeting, we are hoping to have heard from the daycare about the possibility, like how they're, if they were able to make an arrangement with the church to use their parking lot. That is not going to happen. There is not going to be an agreement between the two parties to use that. We've reached out, the Point Edward Early Center has reached out to me. And they've sent me an email, which I've copied into the agenda, that says that child safety is one of their primary concerns there, and that they don't have any concerns with the way things are going right now. And based on that, we have a recommendation that no action be taken at this time, and that I reach back out to them to let them know that if they do have any concerns, they can reach out to me at any time. So, or if they get complaints from parents, they can reach out to me as well.
Could I just say something? It wasn't that the church didn't want to cooperate. It's just that they didn't want to give up any spaces because they're trying to utilize Brand Hall more. So they didn't want to be taking away spots. So it wasn't that they didn't want to be held, but
And they also had a concern about liability. that
yes,
if they-
and that was the other part of
Yeah,
it. Thank
if
you.
they provide parking
Yeah.
and kids cross the street. So,
Yeah.
so I'll move the recommendation.
I'll second that.
Seconded. All in favor? Okay, that's carried.
We want to let Councilor Mon do that.
Now we'll move on to fire committee. Diana?
I'll move that the minutes from November 4th, 2023, for the fire committee be approved and circulated.
I'll second that.
Any questions?
I just saw
Yes.
one thing when I was
Yes.
looking through it. The name for the chair at the bottom is incorrect. It doesn't say Counselor
Oh.
Noctor. It still has an incorrect name. If you look at the
Okay.
where she's supposed to sign.
Oh, that's right.
Thank you for catching that.
Mhm. Good eye.
Okay, so we're gonna get that corrected.
Yep.
Is there any other questions? All in favor? Carried. Move on, environmental services from November 14th.
Move that the minutes from the Environmental Services Committee meeting held November 14th of 2023 be approved as printed.
I'll second that. I do have a question.
Questions?
In the minutes, there's, an approval for an additional 250,000 for a condition assessment. I didn't watch the meeting, but what is a condition assessment and why do we need the extra money?
So that's back in when we passed the budget for 2023, we approved $100,000 for condition assessments of storm and sanitary sewers. So that work has been begun and Jay has kind of led the charge on that. So when we budgeted the 100,000, we really didn't have any idea what it would cost. We just said, okay, we can do 100,000 this year. We'll do 100,000 and see how far we get. We've gotten quotes. Jay got quotes from 3 different companies, and they're basically saying it's about 250,000 to do the rest. They've done what they can with 100,000, and if we approve it now or through the water budget in January, they would hold their rates that they're giving us now. And I think the main reason for that is because this is kind of their slow time of year, so they're to keep their crews busy. They're willing to do the work at those rates. So that's what that's for. It'll be information that will get used in asset management.
And then a follow-up question. So it says it's coming from emergency reserves. Is that the municipal reserves or the wastewater plant?
Municipal.
And is that appropriate given the funding?
I
With
think
wastewater?
so, yeah. Yeah.
Jay has a question for comments.
Just maybe out there, but so great. It all started as a public works project, so this was all done initially as asset management.
Gotcha.
It's part of the asset management plan, so with the vacancy, it was kind of sitting dormant, so that's when Jim and I talked and kind of took the lead of it. So that's why, in order to keep it moving forward, I suggested to get Jim to present that, let's move it over from the village and the water budget, so we can approve 3 months earlier and keep it going and save some money. So it all started, so it's not really, it was never environmental services portion of it. It was all part of that village-wide asset management.
Right.
But to keep it going, we're moving it. So we're hoping to move it over and just keep it going with the water.
I remember now approving the 100 and knowing that it probably wouldn't be enough.
It's more like a guesstimate.
I recall that now, yeah. So
Just in case you look at the budget, it was never in the budget for the environmental services early in the year, so there's nothing in our budget that shows it, it's all on the village side, so.
and should it not stay in the municipal side? Is that not confusing?
This proposal, if this motion passes, that's where it stays.
Is in municipal
Is the
side.
municipal side.
So the emergency reserve into municipal and then the bills will be charged to the municipal, not to the water, wastewater. Okay, that makes sense. Yeah, yeah. Thank you.
Okay, any other questions? All in favor? Move on to finance.
I'll move that the minutes of the Finance Committee meeting held November 14th, 2023 be approved as circulated.
I can second that.
Thank you.
I've got a couple comments if I could. Recommendation 3 in the minutes, St. Clair Conservation Authority funding request. We recommended that we approve this request and it shows up on our agenda tonight as bylaw 36 of 2023. Next item was recommendation 4, is that the CAO will bring a tender document for a second location of a truck at the waterfront park, and that is new business item number 5 for a food truck at waterfront park. Any questions?
Any questions? Okay, all in favor? Thank you. Miscellaneous reports,
No,
We still have one more.
sorry,
the building. committee.
not on. Oh, I just saw environmental services, sorry,
Yeah.
environmental services building committee.
I'll move that
Number
the
5.
Environmental Services Building Committee minutes of November 22nd be approved as circulated.
I'll second that.
Seconded. Questions?
Yeah, I have a couple of comments, surprise. But we are recommending in this that we spend money to begin the design phase of the building on the plan.
Yeah, there's $22,000 budgeted in the water department budget for planning for this building, so I think the estimate came in a little over 19,000. And what that'll do, it does kind of a preliminary site plan for building at the sewage treatment plant, just to determine if there's a space there. And then a layout of the building and a kind of a preliminary costing. And then the next phase, I think, was around between 65 and 70,000. And that's where they would get into all the different mechanical, electrical, all the different engineering, and it would prepare a document to go to tender and actually go to tender and have them come in and be evaluated. And then the third phase from an engineering standpoint is project management, and it was a little around 16 or 17,000, I believe. So it's broken down into 3 phases. The proposal we have from MIG, the other companies that Jay worked with, they only did kind of a package deal where they charge a percentage of the whole project, and you kind of had to commit to the whole thing. So we only had the $22,000 to work with. So that's why we're promoting this proposal.
So I think, I remain sort of fundamentally opposed to this, where we're headed with this. And my number one concern is how we're gonna pay for this building and debenture within the wastewater treatment plant. It's my understanding the budgets for water are supposed to be self-funded, self-sustaining. Ever since I've been on council, we've been transferring money from the taxpayers to cover shortfalls. Yeah, we continue to do it, yet we're told it's not really done. The budget keeps increasing in significant amounts, and I just don't know how, as a council, we're gonna find a way to pay the $200,000 a year to pay off this debenture for 10 years without crippling the ratepayers. I hear for 2024, we're already being proposed with a significant increase. And then we have to add on an extra 15 to 20% for the debenture. Council's been very generous with above cost of living increases. We've been very generous increasing reserves for the water plant to try and get money to sustain us in case we have a problem. And then back in October of 2023, we got our pros and cons list. And I really think that we didn't do due diligence on that to make the proper decision on where we need to put this space. You know, there was comments about the fact that the extra wear and tear on vehicles driving between Public Works and the plant. I timed it, it's a less than 2-minute drive. There's talk about people working remotely and alone, and we currently have a lot of staff in this village who work alone. Public Works staff do patrol at 4 a.m. When they're cutting grass, arena staff work alone, wastewater treatment plant staff work alone. We have an alarm system that we provide to staff to allow them to work alone safely. And if somebody's going to the plant to work, another person could go with them quite easily. And then we have to keep in mind that these staff work at all kinds of buildings. The Michigan Ave pumping station is not just strictly at the plant. We're a very small community geographically. And I just can't see how the con of the excessive wear and tear on our vehicles would be there. Councilor Mondo expressed concern in the pros and cons list about contractors. Every employee here has a cell phone. We're getting digital radios potentially for those staff. Most contractors have an appointment to come to our plant. So I don't see how that could be one of the deciding factors. And there was a comment about shelter in place for an emergency. It's my understanding the rest of the buildings of that plant will stay and people could shelter in place there. I think and I've raised it before, having staff under that bridge with all the stuff falling off it is a bigger hazard. I just think in short, the pros list only had 2 pros and they were both written more as cons. We talked about potential lower costs, but we've never delved into it. Efficiencies was never looked into. One of the cons was a lack of parking at Public Works. There's a ton of green space we could pave. The work here must be kept secure and accessible. That's not a con, because that's what we do already. Increased traffic in the yard. We're a small village. We don't have a lot of traffic in that yard that I know. The commute between the 2 buildings, an under 2-minute drive between locations in my mind is less than how far we drive to do a Tim's run. And then there was a big con about contamination of vehicles from staff driving in case there's an accident at the plant. We very easily provide emergency showers at the plant, allow staff to clean up before they drive back. I think where there's a will, there's a way, and the cons were lovely, but I think they all could be resolved. And one was also the loss of continuity of operations for Public Works during construction. I think that's short-term pain for long-term gain, and a temporary office trailer could help us. We talked about having the lab closer to the plant. I get that, that's lovely, but many samples in Chemical Valley and other industries are driven longer distances before they can get to a lab. I think we're making this decision with these blinders on. The decision was already made before we got into this. And the shared space would really be helpful in team building and efficiencies. I think the biggest con that we never got listed was this financial impact. 1.4 million last budget, 2 million with interest. That's got to be passed on to somebody. If we did a shared space, it would be very conceivable for us to take 75% of the construction costs as a Public Works contribution, and 25% is wastewater. I'm just throwing numbers out there, and that would reduce the impact on wastewater and allow wastewater to become more self-sustaining moving forward. I just think that before we move forward all this design work and floor plans and the like, that we engage a consultant. I agree with that, but to review all of our physical assets and report back on 3 options, build the standalone single purpose building, create a workspace and storage facility that services many employees and brings teams together, and also get us a full quote on removing hazards at the existing space so that we can look at those 3 options and make the right decision. And if we have to spend the $2 million and the standalone is the only option that a consultant has recommended, I will fully support that. But for now, I think we're just headed down on these train tracks of this is what we're doing, and there's no options. We have an opportunity to reduce our overall footprint in the small village, reduce some expenses, bring our workers together. And I just think we need to have more data to make this decision properly. And it doesn't support our new organizational chart that Jim is proposing as we move forward. So I'll be voting no. I'll ask for a recorded vote because I think we need to do this due diligence before we engage maybe to do all that work. Thank you.
Questions, comments?
I'll make a comment on this. We've been dealing with this, aware of this issue since 2017. It's now 2023. 6 years. This is turning into another St. Clair Street project. It was 16. We're finally approving moving it ahead. This is long overdue. We have to think about, as council, we're responsible for the safety of our residents and also our employees. And we're not carrying out what we need to do for our employees to keep them safe with a building that is egress issues, mold issues. And we've known about this. We got to move forward. We can't keep pushing it. So I'll look forward to this for sure.
Would it take longer to explore multiple options? Not necessarily the mold removal and the egress issue, because that seems like a bit of it's too far gone, but would it take longer for us to explore building in the two separate locations than just exploring the one?
Well, I think there's a big question if do we need to do anything at Public Works? We've never had any issues brought forward about concerns with Public Works building. Other than a couple of years ago, when there was a summer student hired, like a female student, and so we had to make accommodations for them to have proper washrooms. And that was dealt with. So, there's not been any concerns brought forward that anything needs to be done at Public Works. We have concerns like Jay and I have talked, and the committee has talked about concerns about the activities of the Environmental Service Department, the testing they have to do. And I mean, they're basically cooking this raw sewage and the smells of it. I mean, I think that's gonna bother people. There's potential for that to be as much of a problem as any potential you might gain too, so. To answer, I think that's the first thing you need to decide is, do we need to look at, is there anything that needs to be done in Public Works? So, and we've never had any evidence of that. And then to say, I don't know, I guess I don't know the answer to your question, like if we wanted to have MIG or somebody else do an evaluation of our facilities and make recommendations, I would think it would take them a bit longer to say, we're gonna look at a few options, as Deputy Mayor suggested. He had 3 different options there, like to look at those options. I would say that's probably gonna take a bit longer because this, building that environmental services are very clean. You assess one department, you build it on site, you don't have to, there's no demolition right off, eventually that building, the existing building should be demolished too. But I think that's a fairly clean, simple project where integrating and assessing different needs of different departments would take a bit more time. I have no idea how long. And I'm not sure if MIG has that expertise on, I'm not sure the idea of the needs assessment for all the departments. I don't know if that's something that they would have the expertise to do, or if that's something beyond their abilities. I don't know.
And with this, we're just voting on the first stage, correct? So
That's
then
correct.
after that, we would, so if we were to vote on moving ahead with this first stage, but then the cost seemed too great once we got that report, would we then have to go back and look at those options later?
I would think so. I mean, yeah, like we have this $22,000 budgeted. We're making use of that money. If they come back and they tell us it's, and I don't know what the number is, and it's beyond what we want to spend, then we have to look at other options.
That just seems like it would take longer than looking at them multiple options to start with.
The other thing, the cost, like, I think it's costs more to renovate what we already have than to build a new place. So it's not gonna be cheaper.
No, never said that, no.
Well, I just wanna make that
Yeah,
clear.
yeah.
Paul?
So I've been through these meetings a lot and I've had water for 2 terms in a row. The first point, I see what you're saying about trying to spread it a bit, but ultimately, to quote Larry Gordon, there is only one taxpayer. We would talk about this all the time. So whether it's 25 on one and 75 on another, it's still coming out of my tax money or my water bill. So that it's kind of 6 of one, half a dozen of the other. My concern with digging into an existing building is I have more concerns that it might end up being more expensive. Anytime I've ever done any renovations on my home, it's an older home, there always seems to be something that we find extra that needs attention. That would be one of my concerns. My other comment is to agree with Councillor Mondu that this is becoming a critical issue. Every day we do our health and safety inspection sheets, we have issues with the building, we have mold issues. And I do believe that we need to get moving on it, and there is a sense of urgency with this for our staff. And the other thing, as far as asking for a consultant to look at it, I know our staff have the greatest knowledge of this situation. Our former public works manager didn't think putting the water building together with the public works was a good idea at that time when he was here, because he feels that the footprint for that is tight enough as it is, and made comments about turning vehicles around to load salt, to do all the things that they have to do to add another building onto that footprint would be very, very difficult in his opinion. And I highly respect his opinion as an engineer. So that's why I think we should move ahead with this project.
Let's do quick follow-up questions. Regarding the design, I agree that the back needs space, but my thought process is that we would build to the front of the building into that empty green space to the front towards St. Clair Street. So I don't see it impacting the yard whatsoever. Regarding complaints from Public Works regarding the building, yeah, there's been no direct complaints, but it's a tired old building and could be better designed and be modernized, and they could benefit from that, just having training rooms, meeting rooms that are consolidated and shared. The sense of urgency, I agree with both Councillor Mondu and Councillor Burgess. However, the last time this committee met was 13 months ago. If this sense of urgency is there and the staff are working in a hazardous situation, we've dropped the ball and waiting 13 months to bring this to council now. And so the sense of urgency is not on us, it's on how it got pushed forward. And then the big question, and maybe CEO Burns can answer this, is how do you propose we are going to pay for this? So 200 grand a year, possibly high end for 10 years. Are we going to have a major increase to water rates? Is that the funding model?
Yeah, I would think something like this you'd finance over 25 years instead of 10 years, because usually you finance over the lifespan of the asset.
Okay.
And I mean, I hope we'd get a lot more than 25 years out of it, but that's kind of and I think that Infrastructure Ontario might go longer than that, but that would be my thought, would be a 25 years. So it's, depending, it's hard to say, but yeah, I mean, the rates, it's got to be paid through largely by the water rates. We're generating 100, or our budget to generate through reserves right now is 220,000. That's where we're budgeted for 2023, and we're pretty much on track to do that. We're I think we're going to be very close to meeting our budget revenue for water sales and reserves this year. So a portion of that money could be dedicated to a building every year. I mean, I know we want to build our reserves, but this building is quite vital as well.
So maybe half of our reserves would go towards the building and the other half would go to reserves, thereby slowing down the building up our reserves. Yeah. However, the building has always been a significant liability to us that reserves are needed for.
Yeah, there's lots of places to spend money, that's for sure.
I'd just like to comment with the talking about building onto the front wouldn't affect the area behind Public Works. It actually, by building on the front, we're gaining the office space. We're not gaining any of the storage space for all the water and wastewater materials that have to be stored in multiple places right now, different buildings, which are in itself creating health and safety concerns with, we have a storage station that's full of a lot of water pipe and other stuff. So it's not gonna actually do anything for all the storage concerns that both the environmental services and the Public Works dating back to 2017 have had. When it all started, before we even knew of all the, we did voters mold all through the building. We didn't have the, really hadn't addressed the access egress issues. We were just dealing with some of the water issues in the basement at that time. But the storage issues were brought up, and that's why when this originally started, it was a storage building. And then as all the health and safety concerns just keep getting worse and worse, and it keeps evolving. And then to say, like, our original quote for the design that we planned was $800,000. By waiting this many years, it's turned into possibly 1.4. So just one of the things, it started off something small. It just keeps growing. The health and safety concerns are basically to a point right now where it's almost hit the top of the railing. Something has to be done immediately. It's gonna come crashing down quickly if we don't move forward.
And I don't want to enter into debate, but I just want to say, I think there's a ton of space in the back to build the storage space. When we have to take some trees down, we configure the yard, but if you look beyond what's there now, there is space back there. There's space to the side. I think, again, my theme is where there's a will, there's a way, and I'm sure we could have achieved it, but I know the way the vote's going, so there's no sense continuing on. So I think it could have been done, and we'll move forward as it is. But good, thank you, Marianne.
Just one more comment on space. And I this is just thinking ahead. I don't know if this will happen. But when I think about all the developments that are laying ahead with Homes Foundry and whatnot, that we may need more space for public works. We may have to build. If our population doubles, what is the workforce going to look like, and equipment and everything? I think we need the space there for future growth.
I have a question for Jay. In that building, we deal with, like, I know everybody says like sewage and that, but we also deal with clean water, correct?
Some of the new building would have a separate section.
No, but I'm saying that that's for inventory, but I'm saying the existing building we today,
Yeah,
for operations, it's clean water and sewage.
Yes, and stormwater.
And stormwater.
So
Okay.
it's serving three purposes. As far as office space goes, it's doing all three.
Okay, so I'm looking here at the training we took earlier this year, and we have a duty and liability as counselors to provide, well, we have the oversight, we have to have accredited operating facilities. And right now, we have accredited operating facilities, but they're not kept in a fit state of repair. Correct? And also, if you read closely, as counselors, we can be personally liable for this. So this is, this really hits home when you go like, oh, okay, as a municipality, as a representative, we can be liable. So, this is part, we're to the point where we really have to do something.
And
So,
that's very valid points, and just begs the question back, and why have we waited 13 months then to move forward if we have all these obligations we've taken on very long?
why
time
have we
to-
waited?
And now we're backed into a corner, is what I'm saying, so.
I made a motion in 2020. That was move forward with this building, and it was rejected. So we've gone since then. And at the time, I don't think we realized it wasn't as serious as it is now,
Mhm.
right? So,
The health and safety issues in that current building are not something that can't wait, so
absolutely.
something needs to happen pretty quickly.
Any other questions?
On the vote on that motion.
All in favor?
And call for record.
Yeah.
Record it, sorry. What do you, you can,
Jen
Jen
does
can
that.
record it through.
So, Counselor Noctor,
In favor?
Counselor Mandu,
In favor?
Counselor Burgess,
In favor.
Counselor, Deputy Mayor Grimes,
So opposed.
and Mayor Hand.
In favor.
Miscellaneous reports now.
Okay. Miscellaneous reports, building permits.
I'll move that the building permit report be received and filed.
Second,
I'll second that.
I was thinking when I was looking at that, I'd like to see a comparison to last year. I think this one looks like it's far
Yeah.
far ahead,
Yeah. It's
Is the
using up a
number-
lot of paper.
number of building permits.
So, I mean, I can get you that.
No,
link,
no,
but
I
you
just,
can look at it
it's more of a
online, too.
comment, yeah,
Yeah.
but it looks like it's exceeding, more than exceeding last year's, which is good. All in favor? Police Services Board meeting, September 14th.
I'll move that those minutes be approved as circulated.
A second.
Have a comment, Mary?
Yep.
Yep. So, I noticed at the police service board meeting, Carolyn talked about the truck traffic and the improvements that have happened, and I was at the Bridges Public Information meeting and to speak to Joe Decker about it. I don't know if residents are aware, but there used to be a truck lane and then the fast pass lane for trucks that had the fast pass to get through the tolls faster. Post-COVID, they've eliminated that lane and now there's 2 truck lanes, which cuts the length of the truck lane in half because now they're queuing up in 2 lanes versus, because there weren't a lot of trucks with fast pass, so that lane was always very short and then it forced that single lane to go very long. So he did tell me that it's working. They're getting complaints from some of the fast pass users who used to use it. But overall, it's bringing the end of the queue almost halfway up. And they are going to work very hard to keep the local lane open. He said now that the OPP and the MTO are actually increasing their enforcement out there, he says they're willing to maintain that local lane. And so I think we're going to see better truck and traffic management out there. And I even noticed I crossed on the Sunday of Thanksgiving and I noticed they had 2 car lanes and only 1 truck lane on the Sunday because of the US Thanksgiving. So it appears that they're being more responsive, modifying the traffic flow for safety, but to see the 2 truck lanes, I think is a huge step in improving safety out there. So I just wanted to, I know it was discussed quite a bit at your meeting, so.
Joe told us in one of our meetings with the bridge that one of the problems with all the traffic, and a lot of people don't understand this, is on the US side and how they resource their facilities. And the budget's controlled by Washington. And they did just before, towards the end of the building cycle, so around October, 1st of October, they did get some emergency money at the US border to try and work on better resourcing. So they've been taking border guards from here, from Port Huron, and sending them to Texas for a month at a time to work with the immigration issue and not replacing them. And so they have issues that cause, that is part of the reason that they don't process quickly. But he said, once they got that emergency money, you started to see the lanes open up and you didn't see the big long lineups. So they continue to keep pounding on that and working with the US side. And trucks still aren't back to pre-COVID levels, and yet they have the lineups. How was it, 80%?
Actually, trucks are pretty close.
Closer, but
Cars are.
cars
only
are
like
still 75%
or so.
of what they were before COVID. Which also has a financial impact.
I believe they said trucks are down about 6% year over year from last
Yeah.
year. They were actually up.
They were up through COVID, which was what kept them going financially, was the trucks were passing.
Motion to accept those minutes.
A motion to accept the minutes.
Oh, I move that.
Oh,
And seconder,
Second.
any quick
all in
one,
favor?
Jen? Yep,
Thank you. We're
you should move this when you do it well.
13, it's near- I lost my page. Here it is.
Emo one.
14, here it is. Okay, 14, communications receive and file 1 through 5.
I'll move that.
Thank you, Bob. Sorry,
I'll
Councilor
second that.
Councilman Lee. All in favor? Okay, St. Clair Regional Conservation, October 26th.
I'll move that item 6, the St. Clair Region Conservation Meeting highlights be received and filed. Just have a couple quick comments. As we all know, Ken Phillips met with councils across the entire catchment area to discuss funding for category 2 and 3 programs now that the funding model has changed. I know he met with this council and the decision was deferred to finance. St. Clair Region Conservation Authority created their draft budget and they have proposed 4% increase to municipal levies. There's still some work on the budget, but that's where it's at now. Just from a media standpoint, St. Clair Region Conservation Authority decided to demolish the A.W. Campbell House. It was an old farmhouse that was on the property. They did a lot of due diligence to try and save it, but engineers just advised us that it was not, it's a state of disrepair that could not be corrected. Well, I guess it could have, but it would have cost way too much money. And then just of interest to us, the inaugural annual St. Clair River Area of Concern event was held in September. And they provided an update on the status of addressing the remaining impairments. And there was a presentation on invasive species in the Great Lakes. And there were 37 members of the public there. So it's good to talk about the river and what they're doing to fix it. So that's all.
All in favor? Okay, move on to new business.
So the first item is request from Blue Water Anglers. We always deal with this one. It's part of the budget. We always deal with it ahead of time. So because they need to get their advertising put together and such. So historically, we've been giving them $5,000 a year. I know I don't sure exactly when it started at 5,000, but it's been there for this is my 13th year that I've been here, and it's been 5,000 all that time. So they're asking for consideration for an increase in that amount. They're asking for $7,500. So
Based on growth of the,
Just a 50% increase.
yeah, it is a huge increase to look at it that way.
Yeah.
To spread it over 13 years is, and it might have been 10 years before that. I don't know.
It's also, it's a huge draw to the area. I don't,
And it can be paid through,
Matt.
Yeah.
So.
I'll make a motion that we approve the Derby sponsorship for the amount of $7,500.
I'll second that.
all in favor?
Okay, the second item is discussion of meeting times for 2024. And just wondering where people's availabilities are. I've got next year, so Councillor Burgess will be going to finance. Councillor Mondu will be going to Public Works Parks Operations, I guess it is now. Councillor Grimes to fire, and Councillor Knocker will be going to water. We've always liked to leave finance to the end of the day. Just in case there's something that comes up at the first three meetings. Other than that, I think pretty flexible. I think Jay's pretty comfortable in the 1 o'clock slot, but if there's anyone that has specific needs for a time,
It's fine for me.
so we can just stick with what we got now.
Mhm.
Okay, all right. we'll
So
do
it puts
that.
me at 8 in the morning.
Oh, no.
Sounds good to me.
All right,
Better you than me.
get ready.
We did go to 8:30.
8:30, okay.
Yeah,
No,
okay.
before.
Yeah.
we
It was
were,
only 8 because so that I could get Christian to school.
Yeah.
afterward.
Okay,
It was 8:30 for Lauren, then it was 8 for you.
so I'm good to 8:30.
okay,
I mean,
At night.
I don't see that. No, I don't see a problem if we did 8:30. What do you think, Jim?
no, I don't think that'd be a problem at all.
And it has been short.
All right, that's perfect. Just take that as direction then.
Okay. We don't need to vote on that. We're
No.
just providing you direction.
The next is a fireworks bylaw, and I haven't really done any work on this other than I've circulated our current bylaw. And then I've circulated a sample from, oh, I don't remember where it's from now.
Brampton.
That is kind of a total ban on fireworks. So before I wanted to go too far into the work of this, I wanted to see what council's thoughts were on this, if they want to go with a complete ban or just how you want to proceed with this.
Who wants to go first? Paul, Councilor Burgess, sorry.
That's okay. I don't like recreational fireworks. I find they're a disturbance to people, to pets, to everybody. And if we had anybody that wanted a permit, we could go on a, permit basis, perhaps. But with the city of Sarnia doing Canada Day and everything else, I don't know where the village would need to have fireworks. So I'm more of the complete ban.
I would say the issue with complete ban is gonna be enforcement. That's gonna be the hard part. And I mean, we can put things in place and
Leave item 4.
But even the way ours
Yeah.
is worded now, there's still people that will set them off
Yeah.
on the days that we say you can't. So it's still
Right.
an enforcement issue. That's
Yeah.
why I'm
Yeah.
saying if we did a complete ban, we'd be dealing with the same thing.
Anybody else? Councilor Deputy Mayor Grimes?
I see where everybody's going with this. I see what other communities are doing. I read the comments on Facebook. I look back to when I was 6 years old and would stand there and watch the burning schoolhouse and what great memories it created and family fun and running around with sparklers. And we seem to be, as a generation, taking a lot of that away from our grandchildren and children. They'll never experience that kind of stuff. And yeah, I know things are changing, but I just keep that in the back of my head that what we're doing. Because I said I have fond memories of all those. As much disappointing as that burning schoolhouse was every year, it was how the fireworks ended. So that's all I can say. It's just I'm not black and white on this issue.
So I don't always say we have to be what Sarnia is. But in the case of this, if your neighbor is having fireworks on holidays and we've got a total ban, I feel that's going to make it difficult. I would rather be matching and allow fireworks on holidays. But then we need enforcement on those non-holidays because, like again, a couple weeks ago, it was going off like 11:30 at night.
So that was Diwali.
Well, yeah, that's what I figured it was.
Yeah,
Diwali,
it's
but
hard to prove that.
I couldn't figure out where it was coming from. It seemed close to my house, but it went long and they're not maintaining like, when we used to go as kids, what Greg's referring to, it's over at 10 o'clock, something like that. But that's what you don't get when it's done by individuals is adherence to a timeline. So. I don't know. Next one.
I think that on certain specific limited days, that it could be acceptable. As long as we have clear direction and public education on what is allowed and what is not. But I think that those days should be fairly limited as well for cultural reasons.
Right.
Some very prominent.
Yes.
Yeah, my comments, we received a very serious email from a resident after, I guess it was July 1st. And it could have been a potential serious incident with the fireworks being blown into an empty lot, burning casings all over the ground, and there was wooden fences and all this. So, that could have been a very serious situation. And it went on late at night and everything else. Subsequent to that, I had a resident contact me, same issue. Except they were blowing into his yard. They were shooting him into his yard. And there was burning embers from the packaging on his yard, And I believe he did bring pictures in and show Jim as well. He told me he did. And so that's the crux for this, because we had two, luckily the incidents, nothing happened, but they could have been very serious, because they were crossing property lines, right? And these were not small little fireworks or anything, they were big. And I know individual I talked to was very upset about it. And so I think we really have to think seriously about, how if we do make some changes, because, we do have the bylaw today. It's enforcement's the issue. And I don't believe, I know the one I was talking to did not make a call on this. So you're saying, well, have we had any complaints? Well, yeah, these were very serious complaints from individuals who, like the one, it frightened his family. You can remember that email from the summer. So, and he was not at all pleased. So anyways, I just think we need to look at it. I think we need to get fire chief involved and, get their feedback on this, maybe run it through the fire committee and have a look, see what works best for us.
Yep.
Grimes?
So I know the fire chief does have a strong opinion on this, so I would make a motion that we refer this to fire committee for their January meeting and they bring back a recommendation. And that should give us enough time to get something in place before May 2/4, which would be. the first
Exactly,
meeting, so.
You have a seconder for that?
I'll second that. Oh, sorry.
Okay, all in favor? Okay, that's good. I'll take it to committee.
Okay, the fourth item then is bylaw enforcement, and I don't really have anything to report finally yet. I'm working with a person that's interested in doing the work, so we're just trying to work out some details. I do want to talk about meeting in December and hope to bring a report to council at the meeting in December. So,
Can you share with the rest of the council what sort of like the
the,
high level?
yeah, so
planners?
this person that lives in the village is interested in doing some bylaw enforcement for us. Parking is, kind of the first thing that we look at, and then dog licensing as well. He's not so sure that, in his opinion, he's not too sure that he thinks there's better ways to do it, so we can carry on that conversation and figure out where we want to go, but from parking enforcement, it's gentleman is interested in it and passionate about it, so I think it's coming up with an arrangement on how we're gonna deal with it.
And so you would, just through you clarify the scope and that like the open burn would continue to be with the fire department.
Yeah,
Although I guess
although-
if he's a bylaw officer, he could enforce those
could.
bylaws as well, but.
so probably what we would do is he would issue the ticket based on a report from either the OPP or the fire
Oh,
department.
okay, gotcha.
Because, the checklist that we have as part of our bylaw, that would come back from either, now, the OPP said they may issue a ticket right on the spot as
Yes,
well.
yep.
Depending on the response they get from the homeowner when they go.
Yep.
If they're, if they're
Yep.
apologetic and if they're working with them, great. If they're
Mhm.
rude, then they'll just issue the ticket right away. So the OPP may do that. But it's also possible for a bylaw enforcement officer to issue the ticket at a later date based on a report from either the fire department or the police department.
Right, okay.
And then the parking is, we could start on overnight parking, 2-hour parking in some of the places and try and get some. One of the things we talked about was what's the goal of this? His opinion is our fines are a little bit light. I think our goal here is not to raise money, though. That's something that's kind of always been indicated by council, is we want compliance, not a
Revenue
Revenue.
generator, yeah.
it'd be nice if he generated enough tickets to pay his
Covers costs.
cover his costs for a while, but eventually. The ideal would be he doesn't have to write any tickets because we're getting compliance. So,
And if I follow up, if I may, do you have any update on the recent DMI enforcement or nothing back yet?
no, I
Okay.
never thought to talk to Jessica about that. Talk over it. Yeah. Jennifer, do you know, have we seen any tickets come in? I don't, yeah. So I will ask Jesse for a report and get back to.
Okay, thank you. So I don't know if everyone knows that we did do a targeted patrol of the DMI area through the county, hired a county employee to do chalking of tires and monitoring of the 2-hour parking, et cetera. So,
He was here last week, so that was probably
Yeah, I
as a
never-
result of that.
Yeah.
But I wasn't talking to him
Yeah,
about it,
yeah.
just I saw him.
so for that, that's just for information.
Yeah.
Right.
Then tendering for the second food services vehicle. This is closed, I believe, sometime in January, about maybe of
Yep,
January.
Exactly.
It's basically the same document that went out back in June or July, whenever it was. It's just with updated dates.
Another question.
Yep.
And it's probably in here, but ask for me to ask you, are there limitations to what the second vendor can sell to protect the fire truck operator?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I can't go to it
Yeah.
immediately specifically,
But
but
okay,
that's there.
Okay, thank you.
Jim wants beaver
Good.
tails.
I think beaver tails would be fantastic.
Yeah.
thing down there anyway.
And then you want your office there?
Well. I'm sure it'd be all that healthy for them.
Yeah, no, that wouldn't be good.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, there's a requirement for them to submit a list of what they're gonna sell. And then they're not allowed to sell anything else without approval from the village. And the goal behind that is not to be selling things that compete with the existing vendors.
I'll make the motion that the CAO would advertise for the second food truck services truck vehicle location in Waterfront Park as per the attached request for tenders.
I'll second that.
Seconded by Council Burgess, all in favor? Yeah, that's Rocky the Snake. Goes on and on.
Yeah, so this is just the organizer. Sent in a request that Rocky head towards the bridge instead of heading along the waterfront towards the lake. So I've got a motion there that we permit it, but we make it clear that we're not gonna be responsible for any maintenance. We're not gonna enforce, we're not gonna be enforcing if kids are picking up and throwing those rocks in the river, we're not gonna stop them. And that part of it is that no rocks be placed in the grass
And it
area.
doesn't impede the sidewalk.
And we discussed it operations and we're here than Sarnia in that we do have that grassy spot between where
Yeah, it
Rocky
divides
and where
it.
you walk, where
Yeah.
over on the Sarnia side by the Flag Plaza, Rocky's pretty close to sidewalk.
Right
So
on, yeah, it's right
We,
beside.
at operation, we didn't see this issue,
No.
so.
They're looking to do if they get the approval to go into Point Edward, they're looking for a Guinness World Record by lengthening the snake.
So I'll move that, the permission be granted.
Okay. Second.
I have a question.
Yes,
How can you manage where they put the stones? Cause you could have. Thinking what happened on the Sarnia side. There could be stones all the way down, so now you've got people. Unable to get to the actual water. You know what I'm saying? From the sidewalk over the grass, and now you've got, like, where do I step? To go further. That's a concern I have, like, I like the concept. But I see down at Laws now, they've got like little pathways. I'm thinking, could we designate sort of spots where there's walkways or something? Prior to, because this takes off, it starts going.
I just don't think we want to over-regulate
Yeah.
Okay.
the ground level
if
thing.
it's a
And
problem,
I think
deal with
whoever's
it.
organizing it can do it, or our staff can move stones. And the stones aren't piled up in a pile,
No.
they're
Yeah.
flush with the gravel that's there,
Yeah.
so it's not increasing, like, we're not building a wall of stones, we're just,
you should be able to step over,
Yeah, I
but
think-
Are we creating a tripping hazard?
no.
It's just, I mean, it's already stones there now.
Yeah, it's just
so-
bigger pieces of gravel.
I'm just trying to think about liability issues for us as well, right?
I need a motion then.
I moved
Oh,
it.
sorry,
That's all right.
I'm not sure who seconded it.
yeah, Ariana did. Hey, all in favor? Okay, Carrie, thank you.
Okay, and the second, or the next item, not second, police service board composition, so I received correspondence from the solicitor general.
Yeah.
That the makeup of our board can now be 2 members of council, 2 members of the public, and 1 provincial appointee. So, the recommendation I have is that I be permitted or authorized to advertise for a second member from the public. Also, I guess, council,
We have to have a councilman.
we need to appoint a second council member. Now, what I'm not sure is if those people, and I'm gonna have to send them an email and ask, is if those people start serving right away, or if they start serving once the Community Policing and Safety Act kicks in. I'm not,
See, I thought it was later, but that would be good to check out.
I will, I think we can advertise and get the person
Get you
in
time to get
place.
ready.
And,
So as I recall, when we approved this, the direction was a community member and then the mayor and deputy mayor is what I thought at the time we agreed to, but there could be, council may wish to do differently.
assume that's what happened. I don't recall a discussion. I'm not saying it didn't
Yeah,
happen.
I remember it was like a year or so ago when this first,
Yeah, so the only thing we need to advertise for is the extra community
Yeah.
person.
and then we'd have to,
Question on that, if the mayor can't fulfill the seat, the deputy mayor would fill your seat for if you missed a meeting. So now we're short a member. That's the only issue with that.
Right. Well, no,
Well, it wouldn't matter who it was.
the other day,
Still
I-
end up
the,
with
the one meeting I filled in for a mayor
Yeah.
hand, I think I may not have, should have
Oh,
filled in because I'm not appointed to the board.
oh,
Oh,
okay.
okay.
So I think we did it just for the sake of continuity because
Oh,
our
okay.
board's so small, but I think with the 5-person board, we'd have quorum with 4 of us.
Yeah,
And at the time, that was the worry then, so,
Okay, that was my concern
yeah,
there
yeah.
with that.
I don't think we can just randomly appoint people to step in, so.
So. The motion will be to advertise for a second member. I think also if you want, I'm gonna have to be
Start.
preparing that bylaw that appoints counselors to all their committees for next year. And I can add the police services board to deputy mayor's list of committees, and I will find out
the time.
when it's supposed to take place.
Okay.
So,
You
I
need a
guess
motion.
we should just confer that there's consensus that would be the makeup. That. So much I didn't just step in there.
So,
Just to add. If, I'm not trying to step on anybody's toes, but I know Counselor Mondu has Trails, you have St. Clair, Counselor Noctor has Bridgeview. I would be willing to jump in on that if you want to spread it out a bit. If that's something you want to do, I'm not trying to jump you.
Yep.
But just, I'll throw that out there. Depending on how that has to be done. If it has to be deputy mayor, then that's fine, but
there's no requirement that it has to be,
No.
it's the
Okay.
council chooses who they want.
and if
Be there.
you've got the time and the willingness, like I'm
I do.
by
have the-
no means
yeah.
trying to jump on
No,
that.
I appreciate that. I do have the time. And I do have a strong interest in policing. I was the provincial appointee for a short time, so I have interest in the board, so I think I'm fine with it, but.
Okay.
It's good to know we have should.
somebody waiting in this.
Yeah,
waiting for
everybody
an
kind of
appointment.
had something
Yep.
and I
Yeah.
did Bridgeview for a few
Yeah.
years and now, since
Well-
I don't have a child there anymore.
Just on that, could we have Counselor Burgess as an alternate? If
Possibly.
we have that for other committees, do we not?
Yeah, you can put the question.
We have an
forward.
alternate available?
Yeah.
So, that
Then
way,
you can be in training.
So I just wanted to throw that out
Yeah.
there.
good idea.
And then he could possibly fill in for either one of them.
Mhm, right, that's right,
Exactly,
right.
but not both.
Right, I will
It's a split personality.
contact the Attorney General's office and find out if that's okay.
So do we need to vote on this now, or do we wait till you get the final details?
The motion that to advertise for a second member
Okay.
of the public should happen,
Okay,
and then the council one will be part of the bylaw that comes back.
Okay.
next meeting.
so who moved it?
I don't know
Yeah,
if we-
Pardon?
I can move it.
Okay, thank you. And a seconder, thank you. Carrie Ann seconded. Okay, all in favor? Thank you. Okay, number 8.
So this is replacement of the different signs we have throughout the village. The work that was authorized for 2023 has all been completed. The signs are back up and installed in the last 2 or 3 weeks, I would say. We had the gentleman that does the signs proposed to redo the sign over on Michigan and Christina as well, and he's willing to honor the price that he submitted back in February or March. And he kind of wants to work on it over the winter time, and what he said is there's a bunch of planning work that he can do. I know you talked about putting something up temporary. I haven't looked at any cost for that. He felt he could have the sign, for a fairly minimal amount of time, take it down, get the work done fairly quickly, and get it put back up. So this could still be done as part of the 2024 budget, because the work's not gonna get done until 2024. But kind of one of those, I guess I'm asking you to pre-authorize an item for the 2024 budget.
But I'll move it.
Okay. Seconder?
And I have a question.
I'll second.
I have 2 questions if I may. So when I mentioned a temporary sign, what I meant was like a vinyl sign that just said Village of Point Edward,
Okay.
hang it there. For the 3 months or whatever,
Right.
it's gone, and then take it, like, so the cost would be a couple $100, right? I'm not saying a temporary wooden structure with all that, just to hang a banner there, it might get stolen, or might not. And then I wonder if we can amend this to bump it up to 5,000 and replace the light at the same time, so when the new sign comes, the new light, because right now, I mean, you drive by, it's a yellowish hue light that really doesn't cast a good glow on the different colors on the sign, so just install an LED, nice LED fixture in that box, and I think the sign would look so much better with a clear white light to make it light up, so then it could all be done at once. So that's and that's, I'd like to make that amendment, so.
I would want him to confirm what he means by temporary, like if it's a couple of weeks, I don't think we need to hang up
No,
plastic,
no,
but
no.
3 months is a different
Yeah.
story.
Yeah, with Dave, I don't think it's gonna be a couple weeks.
I don't think it is.
He
either,
does
but-
great work, but I had the same issue.
So-
I says, can we get a firm date?
Yeah, if it's,
Still,
if
when
it's
we
a
get the
couple
bu-
weeks or under a month, I would say.
He
just-
doesn't like firm dates.
I know.
But if it's
he
under a
does, like,
month, I would just say go for it.
wonderful
If it's-
work.
If he
Yeah.
thinks it's gonna be 3 months, I would
Okay.
be- should- it's our biggest sign, one of our major entry points, so.
Okay.
And it wouldn't go to waste, we just take it down and store it, and we could use it at other things this time, so
So we'll raise that to 5,000 then?
that's my. And then,
No issue with that.
was it Jim's?
Yeah.
Okay, any other questions? All in favor? Thank you. And the next one is the Community Emergency Preparedness Grant application that the fire hall is working on.
So this is something that Claudio, Rick and Doug have been working on for the last few weeks, putting together a list of things they need to just enhance our emergency management capabilities. And we're just looking for endorsement from council for submission of this application.
I can move that.
Seconded.
A
Any
a quick
questions?
question, I did pose this to Claudio, was the acquisition of the digital radios for wastewater. This puts wastewater and public works on different devices, so I wonder if we could get a quote for capital budget to convert their radios to digital, so that in the event of an emergency or other type of thing, everyone could talk. I know they're getting one radio, aren't they, Public Works?
I believe that's in. Yes.
Yeah, one, but I mean, they have truck radios in their trucks and stuff, is whether we could incorporate those outside the grant. Go ahead, Jay, I'm sorry.
So I've been dealing with Claudio on this, so one of the reasons, they decided to try to get the wastewater is we don't have any
Mhm.
two-way radios and they have a spare channel already paid for. So the village would have to buy licenses and stuff by utilizing that second channel, so that's why it kind of got brought in, is there's already a channel there, they're eliminating the cost of having to buy. An actual license for another frequency and, I myself suggest to Clio, like, we don't need truck radios, one truck radio is probably reasonable.
Yeah.
Or handhelds, but it'll still give us the ability to use them on a day-to-day basis, plus in an emergency, the fire department will be able to talk back and forth. And the way Claudio and thinking it was gonna work, it was like, they were gonna have a way of talking to Public Works.
Yeah, apparently they're getting one radio, so I'm just
Yeah.
saying, why can't we in the budget buy them 3 more? And then every employee in Public Works has a radio and every employee in wastewater. In the event of an emergency, then everyone can be communicating rather than just them fighting over one radio, right? So I'm saying, or whether they can revise the grant to add 3 more radios, and then we fully equip all of our outside workers with the same technology, so that's, otherwise I think it's great, it's free money, so go for it.
I would agree with adding it to the grant.
Yeah.
Cause I'd sent Claudio a notice on this grant when I saw it, said, are you aware? And it's up to $50,000, I think.
I think it's 100.
Is it that much?
Oh, no, the population's up to 100,
Yeah, I
sorry.
think it's like 50,000 or so, so let's get as much as we can. They may say no, but let's try.
Yeah, the issue with grants of these types, like usually they put, maybe they put 10 million aside and you get about 4 times that in requests, but.
Yeah.
I think that's, you know, I think Claudio gave pretty good reasons of why he's buying what he did, so hopefully. You know, and I'm not saying if we request 3 more, I'm not saying that's unreasonable, that's not
Yeah.
at all. But I think he, you know, he had very good reasons for doing what he did, so.
And if Claudio doesn't agree with it, which is fine, then all I'm saying is can we add 3 to the capital
Yeah.
budget? And then we have,
Yeah.
like, whether we pay for it, 'cause it's not gonna be a major expense at that, to add 3 more. I don't think.
I don't know if we'll be able to do it as part of this grant application, because you actually have to have written quotes to submit.
Okay,
And I don't know if he has asked for a new quote for more radios. Whether he can get it in time or not. If he does, we'll include it. If he doesn't, we'll.
Okay, thank you.
All in favor? That's carried.
The only other new business item I had was a meeting in December. A normal, you know, we would meet December 12th is the second Tuesday. I'm out of town next week, hopefully. I know I'm out of
There's no
town. next
hopefully.
No,
it's
you're
a
gone.
vacation.
So, and I'm not back until Saturday, so for me to get an agenda put together for Tuesday wouldn't be very
You're
feasible.
away the week before. Gotcha.
Yeah. Yeah, I get back on the 9th, so I propose a meeting on the 14th. On a Thursday, I don't know what people's schedules are like, but. There are a few things for the meeting, there'll be the bylaw for appointing counselors. There is the report on, that I talked to you about this afternoon.
Yeah, no. God. Bylaw,
No,
no.
there is it escapes my mind right now. But there is St. Clair Water Services, so we've found out what the software is capable of, we're just putting the finishing touches on that report to see what council wants to do for, how we want to handle. If we want to provide any assistance to homeowners to upgrade
Yeah.
their services to their lot line, so the report is basically done. I just need to make a few refinements to it, and I can send it out ahead of time.
Yeah, that
So
would be
that you're
good.
not just, give you more time to read it through, and there is some thought that needs to go into it, I mean. One of the things that we had with that was Lydia was very concerned about putting any kind of a price on it, because every property is distant, every property is different. One property might be 10 meters from the lot line, another might be 20. You might have to dig under a porch, it's very difficult to say one price to fit everybody. So, it's how much money do we want to provide, if we want to provide a loan, how much do we want to provide? And then what terms of interest do we want to do, if we want to make it no interest, low interest, regular interest, those sort of things that have to be thought of and decided at that point, so. I think we still got lots of time, I mean, if we make a decision on if the 14th is good for everybody, if we make a decision that night, we can get a note out to people.
What time? I typically work on Thursday. night.
Okay. And that's it, we can be flexible with time too, I mean. there's
During the
not-
day, I'm okay,
Yeah.
but I'm like 5 till or 4 till 7 on Thursdays.
Okay, we could do it at 2 o'clock in the afternoon if council wanted to, it's not gonna be a whole lot of stuff, but I think it's things that we should get done.
I can make that work.
Or
Sorry,
If you have an idea.
well, I was just gonna say. Meet at 10 AM and go for lunch. As a,
well, we have another,
okay, sorry,
Well,
that's why,
we could,
I got a 10 AM booking
okay, then 2 o'clock.
For how long?
till noon.
So 2 o'clock's fine then.
I'm okay with 2 o'clock as long as I can be out for 3:20 to
Okay,
pick up Christian.
well, if you want,
I won't ask any questions. then.
Two works, yeah.
Okay.
would you want to change it to a lunch?
yeah, we could maybe have, what we're talking, normally council goes out for a dinner.
In
A
December.
holiday dinner, Christmas dinner. Kind of wrap up the year, but a lunch would be, I think, a reasonable. Get together for lunch at noon somewhere local and then.
I had
Have a meeting
suggested the
too.
new Holiday Inn, because, I mean, not the new Holiday Inn, they just reopened their lunchroom, their restaurant.
At the 4 Points.
Yeah, so I thought it might be nice to show some support to go there. But we could make it lunch.
Can everyone make lunch on that day?
I can.
I don't know. I'll have to double check.
I'll reach out to them tomorrow and see if
My other
we can get a
meeting-
reservation and. Well, but we'll meet at 2 o'clock for sure. We'll have the council meeting at 2.
So it's lunch and then back here to meet.
Yeah.
For those that can come to lunch, okay, instead of going out for dinner. Probably be easy.
Okay, that's all I have to do business.
Oh, I have. a Couple things. Most, I mean, everybody here knows, but just as a reminder, light up the cul-de-sacs starts at 7 o'clock. And they changed the starting point to the pavilion, so we'll have the hot chocolate and Timbits and whatnot there. Emily thought at the end of Monk Street at her house, it's now getting with the number of people, it's kind of crowded. So if we move it over to the pavilion, and she said she thought that, it's behind me, Livingston had done something, I don't know if they have. So you could come down the pathway past Livingston and then up. So that starts at 7. Christmas in the Village is the next day. And you can see on Facebook, a wide range of activities that are put together in the flyer. It's from 11 to 3. Saturday night is the Santa Claus Parade in Sarnia. They've moved the starting point to Centennial Park at 6 o'clock. The Centennial Exmo and Christina, but doesn't start at the golf course anymore. And just another reminder, Irish Miracle will be canvassing, including Point Edward on the 2nd. And they're canvassing for non-perishable foods, and their food's going to St. Vincent de Paul. Anybody have anything that you think of that needs to be added to community?
I have one thing,
Yes.
just the Point Edward firefighters toy drive.
Yes, I saw that today.
They're
Toy
starting to
drive, thank
advertise
you.
that. They went door to door to every house in the village to make sure everybody got a flyer and the information on it.
I
And
should have had
they
that
can
down.
drop off toys at the fire hall.
Yeah, I didn't see them this year. They normally practice kicking my door in, but didn't this year, just put it in the mailbox. So that was a nice
Oh,
change.
yeah, I didn't, I was probably gone. Okay. I think that's all the ones and I did say that we did, Derek sent me a note that they found the slot for skating, so it's December 31st. I will send everybody a note as a reminder, but I think he said 1:30 to 3. Does that sound right, Jim?
I'm gonna look it up right now.
So
Yeah.
first is a Sunday, that might be the regular.
No, it
public
wasn't
skating.
there, it wasn't the regular skate time.
Oh,
I thought, it was after, I
well,
thought.
they usually go 1 till 2:15 on
December-
Sundays, like that's the
Sunday.
regular public skating ice.
Yeah, it is a Sunday, December 31st.
Yeah, that's what it is, Sunday from 1:30 or 1 to 2:30.
But we're not having regular open skate then.
What's the difference? Between what we're doing?
Nothing, I guess.
And that's
It's
both
free
free.
skating.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
So it wasn't really a find.
Well, yeah, well, he made it sound,
Yeah.
he wrote a very nice note. I was able to find something.
Everything else is sold, so.
Yeah. Okay. Move on to bylaws.
If I can do a quick point of
Yep.
order, I declared a conflict of interest during the meeting on bylaw 36 because I'm a board member with St. Clair Region Conservation Authority.
Yes.
Okay, so the first bylaw is bylaw 35. The enter agreement for the provision of police services, so this is 2-year contract. With the OPP. Now they are indicating. That they're expecting April. In April for the new CSPA or CPSA to kick in, but. The contract just says when that happens, the contract becomes null and void, so.
I'll move that then.
Seconder,
I'll second that.
Councilor Mondu, all in favor? Thank you. Bylaw number 36.
So this is the bylaw with the Conservation Authority for provision of different services, and it is a 3-year agreement. I don't,
Yes, I saw that.
so,
I'll move that. I'll move that bylaw 36 of 2023 being a bylaw to enter into the agreement with St. Clair Region Conservation Authority be read a first, second, and third time and finally passed on this 28th day of November 2023.
seconded by Council Burgess. All in favor? Okay, we need a resolution to go in cameras.
Also
So moved.
Go ahead, I'll second it. Thanks for coming out, Cam.
See you, Cam.
Yep.
Yeah, this is
See you,
good
Cam.
start. What time did you start?
We started at 4, but we had a presentation on software that staff use, so it wasn't like, it was just about it.
How come I'm
It
short?
was more of a product demonstration for us. And then we started the real agenda around 10 to 5, so you didn't miss much.
Gonna put it, see if we can get in the.
Yeah,
budget.
yeah. It'll be there. It's online, so
Yeah.
you can watch it later. Yeah, thanks for coming.
This is,
They're not supposed to be comfortable.
no, but they should be upright at least.
Oh, maybe there's another one down there. Oh, no, those are.
Is there a lock
those
on
are-
Good night, Jay.
This
Bye,
is
Jay.
locked,
Yeah.
so if
Oh.
I'm not
Yeah.
locked, I go way.
My goodness.
I fall asleep.
I'll
It goes
just
on
walk
so
around
hard.
fast.
Yeah. I do that all the time.
Oh, great.